And is going to be for all of the candidates. And so we're going to start with David. David, would you give us two or three of the goals or visions that you for the future? Yikes, we can't hear you, David. Can we unmute? Give us 1 second.
There you go.
Okay. Is this better?
I can hear you, yes.
Okay. One of the visions I would like to see is the increased recreation for all age levels in our community. We're lacking consistent recreation here. So we've just purchased land. We're going to have it designed with citizen input, and we hope to get the youth and seniors and so forth involved more in physical activity. So that's one of the visions. The second is to increase economic development. We're moving right along with the industrial, but we need some more commercial. So that's a vision that I'd like to see completed. How's that? Donna, we can't hear her.
Can you hear me now?
Yes. Did you
Okay,
hear
perfect.
my points?
Thank you. I thought your points were great. Thank you. Thank you. We heard you perfectly. All right. And so, Bob, I'll ask you the same question. What are those two or three things that you would like for future for the city of El Mirage?
Thank you, Shawana. Some important things that I would like to see me move forward is we have an issue with some of our street lights. I would like to see all our street lights become LED lights. We're working on a program with APS. We are going to continue this program and get all our street lights LED, which is going to be a tremendous savings at no cost to the taxpayers. We have a severe issue coming in the future as we have a problem with power. And it's important that everybody realize that it's everybody's responsibility to make sure they try to prepare for the future of our children. And that is a big issue with me. The second thing is streetlights. I'm sorry, not streetlights, but traffic lights. The traffic lights in our city, we're trying to get them all computerized and timed together. We've had some issues coming up where they're not staying yellow long enough. We want to program all the traffic lights for safety. I want to make sure the traffic lights are replaced with LED traffic lights. I want to make sure the timing is set to where the intersection is clear, the yellow stays yellow long enough to clear the intersection for a safer El Mirage. Everybody's been driving a little bit faster lately. Things are a little sporadic. And it's important that all these traffic lights are brought up into the future and the programming is correct. Thank you very much.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. Yeah, folks are driving a lot faster these days. I definitely can relate to that. Roy, for you, sir, two or three things that you'd like to see into the future for El Mirage.
One of the things that we're doing right now is with the Dysart, not the Dysart, the YMCA, the swim program. We just put it into our category here, and we're starting the classes free for El Mirage families on Sunday to come in and swim. We don't want to have a stain of a child drowning in our city. We want to be prepared, make these children ready to swim so they can help themselves when they get into a jam, whether it's in our city or out in a lake or while they're out boating. But we need to make our kids to be more water aware and how to survive in an accident. One of the other things that I'd like to see also is, our police department and our fire department. Those two are, great additions to our city that we've been able to build up. We gave our police department, started out with cameras, and that helped us out a lot. We gave them tasers, that helped them out a lot. They had to go through the training, the programs. And we've got a new canine dog, so that brings up to 3 what we've got. The last dog is specifically trained in detecting drugs, and he's made a tremendous amount of us already, so we're real proud of that. The fire department, I'm so proud of them. We've gotten them equipment as we go along. We started out with a thermal imaging camera. And we got those cameras out for them. Now it's time to turn one of them in and get that one brought up to date. We've also gotten them since 2024. We got them a new fire truck, and that's a little different than the other ones that we got because it holds 1,500 gallons to go fight a fire.
Wow. Wow. Okay. Excellent. Thank you for that. All right. David,
Yes.
your opponents are talking about impact fees. They keep talking about impact fees.
Mhm.
Can you help us understand why those fees were removed and the difference it made for El Mirage and big business?
Sure. A number of years ago, the city of Surprise had a serious issue by misusing impact fees. They used impact fees in Surprise to build their city hall, and the problem became they used the fees for something they shouldn't have because the promise to the developers and the people were for other items they were going to use impact fees. That started other cities, and including El Mirage. What else can we do to attract business, attract industry, and have impact fees go away per se? What El Mirage did was, and this was 5 councils ago, we decided to have ordinances where the developers would be responsible for infrastructure. They would have to fix the roads in front of their business, bring the power, bring the water, bring the sewer, so there'd be no cost to the residents. That philosophy worked. We, the taxpayers, have not had to pay any infrastructure for all the new buildings. So, impact fees, they do have some validity if they're used properly. We did it a different way and it worked. If we had not, we would continue to have roses and onions and carrots in the fields versus manufacturers, warehousing, and commercial. So impact fees is more passe as a way to fund infrastructure. We found an alternative and it works.
Got it. Got it. Thank you for that clarification. Bob, Basin Park is a new project for El Mirage. Can you talk to us about this new project? It sounds exciting. What will it bring to the families of El Mirage?
Tawana, thank you. That is a fabulous, fabulous park to begin with. Several years ago, we made it into an attractive park, and it was more of a place for residents to go enjoy the area, take an evening stroll, go out and exercise. Recently, the city has purchased 13.3 acres. One of the survey ideas that we had from our residents is that they need more recreation. Times are tough, money's hard to come by, so the things that they could do locally with children as a family were important on the survey. We purchased 13.3 acres. The next step would be a survey to the residents to find out exactly what they'd like to see. We want to have recreations for all phases of family members. We want the young ones to have place to play. We want the middle-aged kids to have sports. The older people would like to have all kinds of recreation. So we're going to make this more into a family park that the entire family can go and have recreation for all ages. It's exciting for our city to see the future coming. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you for that answer. And Roy, I understand that you have brought approximately $11 million in grants. Congratulations. And can you tell us about some of those grants? What are they going to do for the community?
Well, thank you for asking that question. I just happen to have a list of some of the things that we've done. We started out back in 2000. We had a grant that was coming up due, whether we used it or not, we were going to lose it. If we didn't use it, we were going to lose it. So I got put in the committee. I went down to Phoenix and fought to get fire hydrants installed in the Sunnyvale district. That's the district that's right with the residential housing right behind the post office. So we started there, got those in, those residents got their fire hydrants. And we went on from there. We did water line improvements, something that you don't see, because we discovered that a lot of the lines that were underground were lined with asbestos. They were made back in the day when they didn't have those safety features. We started getting rid of all that. It disrupted traffic for a while. Yes, I'm sorry about that, but you know what? It made it for clean water for our residents. And so for that, I'm not sorry. We've also worked with housing to get some of this elderly people that didn't have a really nice house to live in. It was pretty sad. Quick story: one house was leaking so bad he put blue tarp in and ran it into a tub so that he could survive the monsoon rains. We did Gentry Park improvements back in 2002. Downtown street light improvement. You couldn't walk downtown; it was so dark. You had to have a flashlight. So down in the avenues and all through there, we put in lights over time. We've done a lot of things. We brought in a brand new fire truck, like I said, and it's been a boon to the city. Got a bigger water tank. You can go out and fight a fire now and stay on it longer. We've got ADA sidewalk. We did a retrofit throughout the city. ADA sidewalk that helps our people that are in wheelchairs and walkers and canes and stuff like that. We've done bicycle lanes throughout the city. You can see the lanes and keeps our traffic safe. Still can't stop the speeders, but it keeps them aware of what's going on. We've done a multi-use trail. We did the Ho-Ho Camp Trail, and that was post-COVID-19 funds that we used from Dysart Road down to Cactus. So the residents can go out and exercise and get out and move about and start feeling better. And we did all that over the years. We've done First Avenue sanitary sewer replacements back in 2024 also. We don't stop. We get an idea in our heads and we go through and we do it. My philosophy is, if it's good for the residents, if it's good for other residents in other cities, why isn't it good for our residents in our cities? So I'll go out and fight for that. I'll get those dollars in there, and we're going to make a change. We've got a big change coming out to our MIRAGE library. We're going to put an outside learning center so that when the days are nice, we can have classes out there. Teachers can come over and have their classes and talk about wildlife, talk about whatever they want to talk about. The satellites, whatever goes on in our city. But we've done all those things, and I'm very proud of the fact that I'm still fighting to bring those dollars in. Thank you.
Wow, what a list. Thank you for sharing that list with us. David, it's being called El Mirage Cares, it's being said that El Mirage Cares is being discontinued. Is that true? And if it's true, and regardless whether it's true or not, can you just share a little bit about that history of that program?
Sure, it's not true. It's
Oh,
just
okay.
political fluff because of the time of year. El Mirage Cares was started by myself, Bob Jones, and another council person. This was a couple of years ago. And what we wanted to do was bring more information to the public, whether it be drug addiction, alcohol addiction, suicide, shoplifting, vandalism. We had a number of items we wanted to bring forth to the citizens to educate the youth as well as the adults, such as when they shoot their firearms in the celebration type atmosphere. So we started that, and over time, we need to go in a little bit different way. And that's what we're doing now. We're gonna have the professionals run it, the ones with the experience, the ones like the community resource officer, the school resource officer. They're gonna have assemblies, they'll be talking to the PTAs, they'll go to HOAs, they'll go to functions, and they'll discuss some of these very important items here in El Mirage. Suicide. For heaven's sakes, we have kids committing suicide. We have kids shooting off firearms. We had a 15-year-old girl that was murdered. I mean, there's so many things that we as the council feel needs to be brought forth. So there's no cutting it. We're having the professionals in public safety now do it versus having one council person trying to do the best that can be done for the city. We want to expand it. And that's all it is. Due to the political atmosphere, it's become the hot subject. We're doing away with it. Nonsense. This idea for the El Mirage Cares was mine, Bob Jones, and the other council person. And it will still be active, using the city manager to bring forth ideas to the police department so that we can expand it. And by having the police department do it, be able to get grants to support this.
Thank you for that. It sounds like really important, and I know absolutely needed and necessary work, right? You mentioned, suicide, mental health is it's such a big deal at this moment, especially for your young people. How will this be communicated? How will it be shared? And when should people start to see some of this expansion that you're talking about?
Well, the school's out for the summer.
That's right.
We're expecting the police department, the officers, to have a lesson plan.
Hmm.
And the chief will be working with them. The council person will work with them. We're going to leave it to them. There's a lot of resources, And as you may not know, as a coroner investigator, when I lived in Nevada, one of the saddest things to do is discuss a family member's suicide, especially kids. And I've done that many times. I did it when I was a cop in Connecticut. So it's still going on. Suicide is a very important subject to be handled in our community. And I don't have the statistics, but even one is too many. So the officers, most of our officers have associate, bachelor, and master degrees. They'll handle this as professional as it can be done. And also, there's no real reason for one person on the council to have to carry this load. It's so important. We've got to get the message to every single resident. And I think the police department will do it. We have a lot of functions sponsored by the city, and there's plenty of places for them to meet, and let's discuss this.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Bob, the city council just approved the purchase of real property for 1.8 million. What are your thoughts on that? And why did you approve that land deal?
Thank you for the question. That's a great question. We just purchased, and let me give you a little background on the land. The land was, it's next to City Hall. City Hall property was donated by the Long family. At that time, when they donated to the family, and they also donated the land for Gateway Park. At that time, they set aside that parcel of property and they gave the city the first option to purchase that property. So through the years, that property has become very valuable. To give you an example, Microsoft just paid almost, or maybe even $1 million an acre. $1 million an acre, Microsoft just paid to expand their property in El Mirage. This same parcel of land, the city was able to purchase for 1.8 million. Yes, everybody got excited saying that we purchased that for our own personal use for other reasons. That's not true. We have the opportunity whether we keep that land or whether we sell that land. It has not been yet determined the use of that land. But going forward, right now, like I said, Microsoft just paid over $1 million an acre. We purchased 7.2 acres for $1.8 million. So if we decide in the future that we need to sell that property, we can sell that property between $7 and $10 million, which would be a very good advantage to the city. Or if we decide to move forward and use it for other reasons, it would be such a cost savings. We couldn't turn this down to have somebody else come in and take the opportunity to purchase it and put something there we don't want. We control that property now. Whether we keep it, whether we sell it, it's a very valuable asset to the city. Thank you.
Makes sense. Thank you. Roy, would you mind talking about the police?
I didn't hear you. You didn't come through.
Would you mind talking, sir, about what you've done for the police department?
Yes, thank you for that question.
Can you hear me?
Yes, yes. What we
Okay.
do for the police department? Well, we built.
Yes. Would you just share with us what you've done with the police department or for the police department?
Okay.
How have you supported the police department?
We fully support the police. Part of my military career was being in the military police, so I have a soft spot for the police. And I'll do anything I can to support them. We built the new police station in 2014. We have quite a few more officers now than we had at that time, and leaders of different departments. So we've had to kind of grow into our building, and our evidence room needs to be expanded. But sometime down the road, we're gonna have to cross that street. It's real busy, but we're gonna have to cross it and make that expansion available. We've gotten them cameras. I mentioned that before. We've gotten them tasers. We've gotten them the new police pistols with a red light on. So once that red light goes on that bad guy's forehead, he better give up because it's pretty close to the end for him. We've also gotten, now we've upgraded to 3 police K9 officers. We had one officer, K9 officer, shot in the line of duty. We brought another 2 on. The latest one is a little dog, British Spaniel that we call Gunner. Gunner is real good at detecting drugs, and he's brought in, I don't know how many drug busts. This little dog needs to have a statue built for him. It's so good. And he's on call all the time. Our handlers that handle our canines are top-notch people. They're professional. We've also gotten them all new equipment. Canine dogs, when they're out in the field, they have to ride in special vehicles with special air conditioning. And you know what? We made those concessions. We've gotten everything they need. So we've also put in the flock system. I was at a convention and seen the flock system in effect, and called the chief, called the city manager. They came over and looked at it. A lot of questions were asked, and we put in the flock system. So if you get picked up by flock, whether you firing a pistol or not, or doing some bad stuff, they triangulate, and by golly, they're catching them quick, putting them handcuffs on them. So yes, we've done a lot of things for our police officers. So, I'm real proud of that, and we're gonna keep giving them all the tools they need to keep fighting and combating this crime. This little criminal element that wants to grow in Almond, we wanna quash it as quick as they come up, and I think we're doing a good job of it. Thank you.
Thank you. David, will
Mhm.
you explain how you cut city taxes and the positive impact it'll have for residents?
Sure. We have an excellent staff, especially in the financial department.
Mm.
Our finance director and his crew are extremely well. They're well versed in city government. You know, it's like when you run your own home. You can't spend money that you don't have. That's number one. People would like to have this, that, and the other thing. When it comes time to pay, they don't want to pay either. So again, being a political year, it's cut my taxes, blah, blah, blah. Well, we've cut back on the taxes, and it's not a lot. We're in inflationary times, but on the average, I would say 2 to 3%. And I try to explain to people, it's very easy to figure out. If you go to Zillow, put your address in, and you can see what the taxes on your property are. Reminding people that approximately 65% of their property tax goes to the school district. So it's not just the city that has a cause and effect on taxes. We keep our taxes reasonable, affordable, and we have people that complain because they pay $300 a year for city taxes. On my house, I pay about $400, and I know the services we get, it's worth every penny.
Mm.
So how do I explain it? If you think your taxes are too high, you tell me or the council and the council what services you don't want. That simple. But if $300 is the average for residential, I don't think that's a lot. I don't think $400 is a lot, because we have full-time police, we got public works, you think of all the benefits, the roads, the sewers, so on and so forth. I think we live in a very reasonably affordable community. And if it wasn't, we wouldn't have so many people moving in.
Interesting approach around what services don't you want then, right? It's kind of it's a funny kind of question to ask, but it's also a reality, right?
And I've heard it for 52 years. Cut my taxes, blah. But you know, inflation affects city government, county and state, and federal. We have inflation. I don't care who the president is. Inflation has always been with this country for the most part. You have to think of that when you see what budget items are. You know, we can't buy gasoline at 50 cents a gallon. We have to pay the going rate like everybody else. So when you go by your Circle K and you see, it's 4.30, the city doesn't get a discount of any resource. They still have to, I'm sorry, we still have to pay, but they'll insist it's election time, cut the taxes in half. I heard that many times. The problem is people don't sit down and think, what am I getting for $300? What am I getting for $400?
Might be a good case study, right?
It would.
Right? Awesome. Thank you so much. Bob, will you talk about the CIP Road Improvement Program? What is that? How does it work?
You know, that's a program that we've had a study done recently, and that's a program set aside for roads to see how we're doing to maintain our roads. In the past few years, we've had some extensive rain damage. that's done some damage to our roads. So we've reached out, had an independent study done to tell us where we're at on these roads. What needs to be repaired? What should we do? How can we improve our streets for our residents? A recent project that we just done is the 129th Avenue from Walmart on down, probably 3/4 of a mile, and they completely took it up and repaved it. And we have several other projects on the works, but these are all been told to us by an independent study. We have a 30-year program that tells us which areas to go and do every year. We try to go back and improve a certain section of roadway in our city every year. Even though we're only 9.5 square miles, there's a lot of roadway. There's a lot of miles of road. We do daily maintenance on these roads. We have a program every year that's put into effect for maintenance. And the CIP tells us ahead of time exactly what areas we need to do year by year. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. And then our last question before we see if there are any questions from the audience. Roy, what improvements have you approved for the fire department in the past, and what do you hope to approve in the future?
Well, in the past, our current firehouse that we have, that was designed by the fire chief and some of his lieutenants. And they did a very good job of it. They looked down the road in the future, we have to grow, so they made it big enough to have all these people in there and all these fire trucks, but consequently the city was growing fast. I remember being in a MAG meeting and they mentioned that we were like at 400% growth for the year. That's good, but in a way, it's hard for a little city to keep up. So what we've done for them is, besides, since I've been on the council, they're getting them 3 new fire trucks. We've also done the thermal imaging cameras. We get those in case somebody gets caught in a fire and our men have to go in and rescue them. They'll use these cameras to find out where the bodies are, where you're at and all that to get you out of trouble. Thing is, if days goes by, time goes by, we've got to replace those equipment. So we've got 1 or 2 cameras now that are kind enough to get replaced. We also found out once we got into our current firehouse that we couldn't use the washers and dryers that were there. Our men and women have to wash their turnout gear in stainless steel equipment. So the city made those deals to get that equipment into the firehouse, and we did. We've also sent a lot of them out. They're using now they opened up during COVID-19, the pandemic. They were doing testing on city employees and also on residents who would walk in. They would do the testing there. If you're walking by the fire department and you don't feel right, they've got that little room in there to test you also, so you're having a cardiac arrest or something like that, so they can immediately transport you off. They do the water thing in the summertime. They put the coolers out there and people can walk by and grab cold water. So those are some of the things, and on top of that, our fire people are very well educated. They're into their jobs and they're really proud of them. I'm proud of them. So is the rest of the council. Have no complaints against them. I wish we could get them more tools, like I said, and they can keep this community safe. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you so much. All right, and so we have reached the end of the discussion questions that we had for the panel, the council thus far. And so if there are any questions in the audience, we want to give an opportunity for those to be raised. I think I see something there. All right. So this is Bob, you had Shawana mention in your opening statement that you retired from the council, but yet you were voted out and Mike Hutchinson was elected. What are your thoughts on transparency and honesty?
You know, it's important. I still retired as vice mayor. My time was up and I left the council, and that is correct. I was voted out at that time. And, but we had a nice little, leaving the council. I enjoyed it. And I went back to volunteer work with the city and went back on planning and zoning and served my community at no cost to the residents, which I have done for the past 23 years. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions out there? All right. So it looks like we have maybe just a couple of minutes. I wanted to extend the opportunity if you all just wanted to wrap your comments, maybe a minute or so, because we only have just maybe 5 or 6 minutes at this point. If you all wouldn't mind just taking 1 minute to just wrap your thoughts, and then we can wrap this conversation. Why don't we start with Roy?
What was your question again?
My question was, is there one thought that you would have for this audience as we end today? Is there one thing that you want this audience to know about you and your platform and what you intend to do for the city of El Mirage?
Yes, I want everybody to think about what we've done for the city. Everything we do is scrutinized and it's talked about. Nobody jumps out of the frying pan into the fire. Yeah, let's go do this or do that. We study everything, and everything that we bring to our residents, because it's been studied and we need it, and have to find a way to do it to make life easier here in El Mirage for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bob, how about you? Want to hop in?
You know, thank you. I would like to share a couple of thoughts real quick. You know, everybody's preaching transparency, honesty. Our city has the most transparent city hall with any information that anybody seeks is readily available. We don't hide anything. Everything is disclosed by public records request, can be easily found. Whether the fact that I was voted out of that position, whether the fact that I retired, I went on to volunteer my services for this city like I've done for the past 23 years. I have given nothing but free time to the residents, the children, the families of this community, and regardless what happens in the future, I will do the same thing. I will serve my HOA, I will serve the residents of this city as any position they need me in. I believe in giving back to the city I've lived in. This is a beautiful community. We've come so far in the past 15 years. We need to continue this forward. We want to keep our property values. We don't want property values to diminish. That's what's going to happen. If taxes get lowered, that sounds beautiful. But think about what's going to happen in the small community when you cut taxes. You lose all your resources. You lose your fire department. You lose your police department. Your housing values will drop significantly if those things happen. This council has done an amazing job. Just an amazing job. One thing that we haven't talked about is we live in a desert. We have a severe water shortage in the state of Arizona. The Colorado River has gone on to cut the water coming out of that for everybody in this community. With the help of previous councils, this council and previous councils, we have secured a 100-year supply of water for our residents. We've made sure businesses coming, we see the future. We want to make sure our residents have plenty of water. This council and previous councils have worked to make sure we have a 100-year supply of water. Moving forward, we have done nothing but fabulous things for the city, and we would like to continue the recreation, getting our families what they need, our children what they need. And that's what this is all about, looking forward to the future and doing the right thing. Thank you.
Thank you. And last but not least, David.
Thank you. Listen, I've been in politics for decades. this city is very well run. It really is. We have excellent staff. And I'm very happy with them. I'm proud of them. They do their job. They do it extremely well. People move to El Mirage because it's a good community. It's a safe community. It's an affordable community. Every time there's an election, you're gonna hear blather from people that are running for office, whether they make up stories or whatever they want to do. That's part of politics, and I give it very little credence. Our city is well run, there's no question about it, and that's why people move here. So I'm very happy to be on the council. We have a lot of accomplishments. We got page after page, and thank you very much for the opportunity.
Excellent. Roy, Bob, David, thank you all for your time today and for sharing your goals and your visions for the city of El Mirage. And so to the audience, thank you for joining us today. We trust it's been a good use of your time and that you've received valuable insights into the goals Roy, Bob, and David have for your city. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.